Hi everyone, welcome to Live Darts TV. That time again, we're here to preview Wednesday's session at the BetVictor World Matchplay. Paul, have we recovered from last night yet?
No, not at all. It's only been a few hours, and I'm still processing the Anderson performance. I was having such a blast last night, calling the stuff, and you can probably hear that my voice is a little hoarse.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be the only one, but what a sensational night at darts, and arguably the best second round day we've ever had at Blackpool.
Definitely, I thought Gary was just sensational and under pressure because he didn't lead until he went 9-8 up.
Sometimes I think people have not so much question his desire, but maybe question how much he wants something in certain situations. And in the first game against Stephen Bunting, we saw his reaction going into the break after the 10th leg, and we thought, oh, hang on a minute, there's something different about Gary this week. He shows desire and willingness to come back from a deficit, and he had a deficit that was even worse against Barneveld, and he showed even better bottle. And I'm not even sure that anybody's ever questioned Gary's bottle, but everything was on the afterburner last night as far as Gary's concerned, first and foremost. And the way he played with a set of darts that had just come out of the box.
I was going to say, the gut to change. I know it's exactly the same dart manufacturer-wise, it's the same dimensions, but psychologically, just go, yeah, okay.
You know, sometimes we do overthink it. We are very good skill. We've got great skill with darts, and if we are given a set of darts, we can pretty much use most of the things that we have. With Gary and these darts, they weren't any different to what he's been using. They were a different colour, admittedly. The thing that shocked me the most was that he had a smooth point, and he was one of the first advocates for the groove at the top of the point for the finger. So he didn't have that, and the scary thing is that he can't actually use the darts with the grip point. They are there in the venue waiting for him in a box, and if he uses those, he could potentially be better than what we saw.
He mentioned it in the press conference afterwards, and I think they might be getting repointed today to have his point putting. He said a couple did slip out of his hand, so I think he's going to use the black dart again, but with the groove point.
Yeah, I think I saw a couple of darts for a treble 20 that slipped down towards the low 5, and they were probably about an inch and a half low. So he doesn't do that.
No.
And your average dart player might do that, but he doesn't. So if he feels that there are one or two darts that slipped, and he can fix that, well, who's going to beat him?
Yeah, I think we might have seen our winner last night.
I said exactly the same last night, fella, really did too. A lot of people in the venue, and I'm not going to hedge my bets on one person right now. Obviously, Gary, I think, is a massive favourite now. But after last night's confidence boosts for everybody's winners, I think you've got to say that the winner will come from that half.
No, definitely. Moving on to today, it's got a lot to live up to after last night, but we'll start at the beginning. We've got Simon Whitlock against James Wade. Again, I think this could be a real technical game of darts in that sense. Two players that think about every dart, very deliberate.
Two guys who came through a little bit differently in the first round. Obviously, James 12-10 against Watamina. He had to work for every single leg he got, and you've got to give James so much credit for coming through a sticky encounter. Anybody else may have come unstuck there, but he showed a lot of heart at the end, and I think James Wade is really maturing, and you know, not just as a dart player but as a human being. And his press conference, I think, was fantastic afterwards. He doesn't get enough credit for the way he speaks to the media sometimes. He's had some interesting interviews in the past, but these days he gives compelling stuff, and he gives a real insight into how he thinks in a game. And I love the way he focused on how Blackpool is almost the last of the great venues for the PDC since it started. And I know how much he wants to do this, and I think he understands how much he has to lift his game against Whitlock and the rest of the field if he wants to lift the title.
I suppose you touched on there, we don't know how good Simon is coming into this tournament because he wasn't pushed in the first round. He almost had a free ride at it. So James has been pushed and he's kicked.
Yeah.
Simon doesn't know if he can do that.
No, and we don't know what points he's going to use either, because let's face it, he used Allen Key points in the first game. I know that he thought that was a bit of a secret, but it wasn't so much, because we sit with him at the Pro Tour and he told us all about it. But against Northie, he wasn't tested, he was coasting, Will that be an advantage for someone like Simon, who is nearly 50, not expelling as much stress and energy as James? Possibly. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the head-to-heads with these two guys, they've had some ding-dongs over the years. And there's no needle between the two. I don't care what anybody says. They do get on great, but up there, they just leave it all in the practice room. And when they get on stage, it's all about the game. And sometimes it does boil over, but that's just competitive darts.
Tough game to call. I think it's a real coin toss game. I like the overs in the legs because I think it will go deep.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a long game. And first up, it could be the precursor to a very long evening.
Yeah, definitely. Second game on, we've got Mensah Suljovic against Ian White. Again, I like this game, and Mensah showed in round one that he's in good form. He was solid, where Ian White was a bit hit and miss for me. He was good 1 minute, not so good the next. I think Mensah's consistency is the key to this game.
Yeah, it could well be, because in the game with Max Hopp, Ian White was up and down. There were some good bits towards the end, but at the start of the game, there were darts that Ian will definitely want to forget. One thing we know about Diamond is that he will hit that practice room hard well beforehand. He will get super focused. I worry about Ian White in this game because Mensah Suljovic is going to be awkward. He's going to be very good, I feel. He loves it on the Blackpool stage. I saw him down the street the other day just chilling with an ice cream. He's just super relaxed this week, having his family with him. And you just get the feeling that he doesn't feel pressure. I mean, judging by his background coming from a war zone, this isn't pressure. This is just something he'll really enjoy. I fancy Mensah Suljovic to get the victory here, but I would love Ian White to test him.
No, I completely agree. I see Mensah coming through this, and I think quite comfortably.
If Mensah Suljovic keeps going in this tournament, he could win this half. He could get the final. I've got little doubt about that because there are some stumbling blocks in his way, but in the half the way that it is panned out, it could pave the way for Suljovic to make a first World Matchplay final.
Completely agree. The third game of the night, Rob Cross against Darren Webster. No, I'm looking forward to this because this will just be a complete tungsten tear-up.
Yeah, slugfest.
Yeah.
I really look forward to when Darren plays. Anybody who isn't a fan of Darren, well, forget about it because the guy's dogged, he's old school, he can mix it with the new school, and Rob Cross is almost the epitome of the new school. I think this could be very good indeed. Ultimately though, Rob Cross I think looked very good for a first round encounter, and he said he's got a lot more in the tank. If he can be comfortable in this atmosphere, he showed a little bit of perspiration in the first game against Merv, but ultimately he was a little bit hotter earlier in the week. It has cooled down a bit, which will definitely suit Rob. Going for Cross here, I know that's a bit of a cop-out, but in the first game, for both of them, Rob Cross showed more for me, and I think there will be more in the tank.
I completely agree. Rob's doubles in the first game was key, where Darren missed a few. I know he got over the line in the end, but I think Rob's finishing under pressure could be the huge difference in this game.
It's the difference in a lot of games that he plays. If he leaves double 18s and double 16s, and he's pinging them early, watch out, because he can run very fast when he gets going. He's got his own way to go for finishes. He likes to use treble 18 for the first dart a lot. That's his thing. But if he gives himself a lot of chances with some heavy scoring, I don't see a way that Darren Webster can win this.
Last game on paper, this just looked like a run-of-the-mill second game until Peter Wright spoke to the media. He plays Kim Hybretts, and for me, his comments were completely out of character, and I didn't see them coming. I know Kim's listened to it, so I think there could be a little bit of needle in the last game of the night.
A little bit of needle in a Kim Hybretts game? This could be a very interesting game in that respect. It could be the one game out of the 8 in the second round that gets a little bit nasty. And sometimes Peter Wright, when he's on stage, is quite flamboyant. Sometimes. What am I talking about? Kim Hybretts is going to be, I feel, the worst version of himself in this game if it does get a little bit close. I think with the Hendo game, he showed about as much composure and calmness as I've ever seen from him, and I give him so much applause for that, because it wasn't an easy encounter for him for many reasons. He'd never won here before. He had a miserable record against John, but to be fair, this is a different game. When you play against Hendo, it's almost impossible to get worked up because he doesn't give you anything. But Peter Wright is going to give him something. He's going to give him reactions. He's going to have the crowd with him potentially. this has got the makings of a headline game, especially for this evening.
Definitely. I actually thought in the first half of the Hendo game, Kim was sensational as well. Looking back to somewhere near his best. Halfway through, I think his mind started playing tricks on him, like, oh no, not again. But he showed mental composure to come back. And the other thing, the Peter Wright darts, I think we're going to do a lucky dip to see what we play with tonight.
How many sets did he take on stage? 3?
I think there was at least 3 I saw in the bot.
Yeah. Is there any chance he'll use one of each?
But quite possibly.
The ones he used the other day, they were going in the board with a good thud, which is a good sign. Nice and straight. There were encouraging signs with those darts, but yet again, I mean, how much can you play with a different set of darts and get real comfort and enhance your averages and your doubles percentages? It's the one thing I really doubt when it comes to Peter Wright constantly changing stuff, because his doubles do suffer when he constantly changes. He may have a decent game of about a 30% average, but we've seen that when he's used the thin barrel, the short stem and the big flight, that when he's used them over a course of time, like when he won the UK Open, his doubles percentages were stratospheric. And I think sometimes it's just sheer boredom that he wants to change. Ultimately, he's winning. We're sitting here talking about it, so he knows best. But we can talk about it till the cows come home. But he's going to do his own thing, and will he be strong enough for Kim? I think this will be a lot tighter than people think. I think Kim Huybrechts is willing to leave everything out there tonight. He doesn't have anything to prove against Peter Wright. The pressure is on Peter Wright, the top seed in that half. Will he get the job done? I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Based on the first round games, I got a sneaky feeling Kim might do this. I thought consistently Kim was the better player out of the first 2 games when you compare them. I thought he was more consistent on the trebles.
Yeah.
His scoring was heavier.
Yeah.
So I've got a sneaky feeling that Kim might nick this.
Well, John Rawlings been working with us at the radio, and every single game he's done in the last 2 days, because he's only been with us Monday and Tuesday, every single one of them has been by the odd leg. So at 12-10 and 11-9. So John's going to be doing game 2 and game 4 tonight. So I'm saying it's going to be by 2 legs, or it's going to be a tiebreaker sudden death. So that's my prediction.
Brilliant, Paul. Thanks very much. I know you're off to play golf today. Thanks for getting up early.
Thank you for getting up to film it.
Well, we think we've got to do these things. Thanks for everyone. That's our Wednesday preview of the BetVictor World Matchplay.